speaker is working through pathways on the project Connect with Storytelling. He is glad to be a member at one of our Toastmasters, happy with his progress so far, and looking forward to continuing his growth as an effective communicator. Please welcome James Ricks to the lectern with his speech title, Learning to Fly.
Once you have tasted flight, you will walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. There you have been, and there you long to return. Those wonderful words are from Leonardo da Vinci. Fellow Toastmasters and our honored guests, today I will share my story along the path of achieving a pilot's license. So please stow your tray tables, put your seats in the upright position, and join me as we take to the skies. It began at the tender age of 8 when my dad and I went with a friend to fly over the Miami skyline. I'd never been in an airplane before, much less a small one. I had no idea what to expect. Before I knew it, though, we were off. Our wheels left the runway, and the view and the feeling, I started to understand the profound words from Da Vinci. From that moment on, I wanted to be a pilot. Now, I didn't begin my lessons until the mid-20s. And my first lesson, my very first lesson, it didn't go very well. We were both decent-sized guys, and we got into a pretty small plane. It was just a two-seater, a Cessna 152. And as I latched that door shut, I started thinking, well, this doesn't feel good. But we took off, and I was in a better place. Since it was the first lesson, straight and level flight. No climbs, no descents, banking neither left nor right, just straight and level. After a while, the instructor wanted to teach me a little bit about how safe the plane was. And he said, you know, James, it's really kind of like a big glider. If you have the worst case and you have engine failure, just point the nose down, go to 60 knots, and it'll be like a glider. Just head towards a field and bring her right back to good old Mother Earth. Well, imagine my surprise when this guy leans over, grabs the keys, and turns the engine off. I looked him in the eye and said, buddy, if I didn't need you to get back on the ground, I'd crack your jaw. No, it's okay, really, it's okay. Let me reassure you. Let's go down to 60 knots, and we did it. There's a field right there. Head towards it, let's just circle. And we did. But with the deafening silence of an engineless plane and the blinding sight of an immovable propeller, we went for that small field. And the truth of it, the guy was right. It was working. So after proving his point, he reached back over and started the engine, and we went to the real airport. My friends, I appreciate a good lesson as much as the next guy. Timing matters! First lesson was not the time to pull stuff like that. You're not going to be surprised to know that I went out and found a new flight instructor. This new guy was great. He was younger, had this thick German accent, was a lot of fun, and he paid close attention to detail. He really wanted me to learn, and he helped me. So I worked all the procedures, and I went on a solo flight, several cross-country flights, and I really started to learn an issue and how to handle stalls. Now, many in the room know what a stall is, but some don't, so I'll explain it. It's when the airplane is climbing, but the wings no longer produce lift. So there's three key things that happen in a stall. First thing is a stall warning sound goes off inside the aircraft. Pretty distinct. Should have you wake up. If that doesn't work, the whole airplane starts to shudder. That should really snap you to attention. And if it doesn't work, my friends, the third one's got to get you. The plane falls. I'm okay. I'm doing great. I've learned my lessons, and I feel pretty confident. So I'm out practicing on my own, and I'm studying the stalls, and I'm doing great. I go up, and the plane starts to shudder. I got the horn blowing, and the plane starts to dip. No problem, no issue. Except I didn't have my instructor next to me. The weight of this man in such a small airplane really affected the balance. So as the plane dipped down, my left wing went down much quicker than my right. So I started to spiral towards the earth, and it didn't feel good. As I'm hopelessly circling towards my doom, sounding like a kamikaze pilot on his way to a battleship, I realized panic favors no one. I studied well, I worked hard, and it's time for my efforts to pay off. I reduced the throttle to idle, I applied full opposite rudder to stop the spin, and as counterintuitive, as crazy as it sounds, I pushed towards the ground. It worked. I was able to safely regain control of the plane and get my behind back home. I learned a great lesson that day, and it has to do with life in general. You cannot predict what will happen, but you can perform the way you train, so you get better trained well. I did just that. I continued my training and ultimately achieved my pilot's license. Had wonderful years of flying to other states in the Bahamas and Keys, and I loved it until my little girl was born. I loved her more. At that point, every penny that would have gone into aviation went into a college fund because it's not going to pay for itself. But I'm still grateful for all of those memories that I had. And I can't overemphasize the feeling of joy and accomplishment that I have in achieving that goal. Now, I'd like to close with an encouragement to each and every one of you. If you have a goal in your personal story, whether it's from your youth or to recent, I tell you to fulfill it. Apply yourself to the goal. Immerse yourself in the diligent effort of accomplishment. It may not, my friends, it will not be easy. Someone will always reach over, grab the keys, and shut off your engine. You will find yourself spiraling out of control towards the earth. Do not let negative people or negative circumstances define you. Overcome the challenges, whatever the dream, whatever the goal. Spread your wings, my friends, and fly.
There you go.